What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Igniting Hope Radio, sponsored by the Buffalo Center for Health Equity. I am your host, Sherman Webb-Middlebrooks, the lifelong Buffalo resident and full-time black man. And man, we have a great episode for y'all. As you can see, we have our first returning guest to the podcast, my sister Felicia Cruz. We're going to dive a little bit more into our background and just how we know each other. And we're going to have a good conversation. We're going to talk about the work that she's doing in our community, helping our vulnerable populations, and just who she is as a person. Now, Felicia, we have been through a lot. So I can easily list you as a mentor. I've known you since I was a teenager. You was a mentor to me and others in the Leaving Our Legacy program, volunteering your time, giving us your wisdom, and giving us game about life, coming to support us as young leaders. We were colleagues and co-workers at the Youth Link Clinic, working with our young people living with HIV, survivors of sexual assault, and other young people in that testing clinic when we was definitely in them trenches doing that. And just overall, just love building community with you. You're a fierce woman out here in these streets, helping other people, raising kids, doing a lot of different things. You are also a veteran, so I want to thank you for your service. We love the troops here at Igniting Hope Radio. So yeah, and you're also the founder of Sylvia's House. So let's talk a little bit about your roots and tell us a little bit about Sylvia's House and why we're here today and how we can help shed some light on the work that you're doing.
Okay, thank you, Sherman. Thank you for that intro. So Sylvia's House was created after our first podcast interview. So we talked about the work in the community. So on the prior episode before this, it was the before Sylvia's House. So we talked about the work that needs to be done, the work that's being done, and what more that we could do. So one of the things last year I decided to create a nonprofit organization named Sylvia's House, which was named after my grandmother, who did a lot of work in the Hispanic community, and to continue her legacy.
That makes sense.
And at first, it was I was going to do, for homeless veterans. I was already working with homeless veterans. But then I had the opportunity to apply and become the lead agency for Cold Blue underneath Sylvia's House.
So for folks who might not know, tell us, what is Cold Blue? And is that something that's just unique to Buffalo in this climate?
Well, Cold Blue has been in existence since 2009. I was there as a volunteer. Cold Blue is when the temperature is under 32 degrees. Individuals come off the street so they don't freeze to death. Cold Blue has been the model for other cities of what we do here.
Okay.
So I've worked for Cold Blue. I volunteered for Cold Blue for the past 16 years, and this was my first year as a director and then under my organization to lead Cold Blue.
So why homeless vet? So I know that you're a veteran, over 20 years in human services. You were a Marine, the few and the proud.
Right.
You don't mess with those.
That's right.
So yeah, given the fact that like your background, like how did you land on wanting to work with our unhoused brothers and sisters in the community?
So during Cold Blue, over the course of the years, I have found a lot of veterans that didn't even know they needed services, didn't know they qualified, and a lot of veterans were in the Cold Blue, shelters. So I was able to link them with other services. So, at that time, it made sense to me. Like, okay, these veterans are in here. They don't even know what they qualify for, and yet, nobody's really approaching them. So I would link them to other services, and then I was working for an organization, with transitional housing for veterans.
Okay.
However, because I've been dedicated to Cold Blue for so long, it just only made sense for Sylvia's House to become that lead agency. And we actually got extended.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. We got extended first. Okay. Usually it ends in April 30th after the winter's over. Okay. But we had got extended through the county to continue Sylvia's House, continue Cold Blue in the summertime. And, this summer's been really, really hot.
Hot.
Okay. But unfortunately, we were not able to continue due to lack of a building that was suitable for individuals to reside in.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
actually closed Cold Blue, extension of Cold Blue, whatever you want to call it, July 16th.
So the building, so it's closed, and so you need a building. So folks, if you out there,
Need a building.
she need a building. If you out there and you want to help and you want to support and you want to get involved, maybe you're a realtor, maybe you're a rich uncle who got a building that you want to donate, maybe you're a contractor. We don't know, but the one thing that I am a firm believer of, everything that we want and need in this life, we're gonna have to go through and work with other people in order to get it.
Absolutely. And that's the goal here. I mean, I was contracted through the county and the city to do this work. I would love to continue to do this work because the fact of the matter is we have too many homeless people. The numbers have risen since COVID. They continue to rise. I had 175 people during the wintertime in two different sites.
Wow.
So to have those individuals, some of them, after the weather got better, some of them went to other spaces. A lot of them got housed, but I still ended up with 70 people in July that were unhoused. So some of those individuals, again, went to other places, other shelters, but a majority of them ended up back in the street. And you see it. You see it downtown. You see it in the library.
Yeah.
You see the encampments. And my fear is now with what's going on in the country, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
So we definitely need more space for our unhoused. We need more services. That's always been the thing. And I'm not sure if collaboration is happening, as it should be throughout the city, throughout the county, throughout the nation. It's just not happening because these individuals are looked at differently.
Right. And like one of the things that like I used to realize like in my travels was like I would be in other places on work trips because I really don't vacation. I like to travel for work. I like to get paid to go places. I don't like to pay to go places.
That's right.
But like I would be out and about traveling, and I would see in different cities and areas, even like it's aggressive infrastructure when like the benches is set up a certain way where like people can't sit down for long periods of time and get comfortable. I remember being in San Francisco, and then after like the stores and stuff closed, like downtown, they would put like spike like rails out or like just like tack strips, like look like the stuff the police use to pop tires. They would lay them out in front of the doorways so like people couldn't stand under the doorways if it rained or if it got hot to find shade or to sleep. And I get it. Maybe you don't want them sleeping in front of the Gucci store in downtown San Francisco, but like while you invest in like these aggressive infrastructure practices and policies, you could redirect those funds to actually housing people.
Absolutely.
You could actually put in policies that will make it's sustainable to actually live in some of these cities and communities. So I would always just walk and I would be sticking my nose up in the air like, my city isn't like that. I don't see this when I walk around downtown Buffalo. And then that was probably about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then since then, I've started seeing it way more than I saw it before. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's happening? Right. Like our city, is it growing? Is it expanding? It's becoming like those places that I've traveled to that I was like ashamed of like our society. And I would be so proud of my home, and now my home place is enacting in the same thing. So what are your thoughts on the situation?
I think, and I get it, right? I get, we don't want shelters in our backyards. We don't want them in our neighborhoods. And I preach this all the time to people. Then where do you want it? Mm-hmm. What's the solution to this problem? Because if we don't have it somewhere, they end up in the street. Yeah. They end up in your neighborhoods anyways. Yeah. Crime. They're doing stuff for survival. They're not even doing stuff to be mischief, but doing stuff for survival. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in front of your buildings. They're going to be in front of your property. So why not give me a building?
Right.
And I would take all those people that nobody else wants, all those people that nobody really, I'm not going to say care, but, out of sight, out of mind type of thing, and clean up the streets by having a safe place for them, because they also need to be safe.
Right.
It's not just our safety, but they also to be safe. And with Sylvia's House this year, I'm very proud of my team. I had, 30 employees under me. I had security, and I was very proud of my team because we built like a family cohesiveness. So we're like, when even now when I see them in the street, they come up to me and give me a hug and they thank me and stuff like that. And I'm just very proud of that because, we have to treat them as humans.
Right.
And in America today, we're not treating people as humans across the board.
I agree.
And so when I look at, and I've said it, before, I always look at individuals as they belong to somebody. That is somebody's brother, sister, uncle, aunt, cousin. Like, they belong to somebody, and society doesn't look at them like that. And that's where a lot of things get misconstrued, to where, like, what do we do with homeless people? No, we can't just pack them up and tell them to move like herd.
Right.
You can't go here, you can't go there, you can't go, and that's happening across the nation right now. So there's not a plan. And I would hope that, and I think that Buffalo is not, on that, where we don't care, but there's just not a solution to the problem. And the numbers are just going to keep growing, especially with apartments and housing, increasing.
The way stuff is going up is crazy.
It's increasing. You have individuals that don't have mental health and don't have substance abuse that are homeless. And it is, we're all one paycheck away from being homeless, and that is the reality.
It really is.
I was a single mother, and I'm out here even now, not working because Sylvia's house was closed down, but just trying to, make a way to make money. And not everybody has that ability. Some people have illnesses. I had a lot of people in this shelter that were getting dropped off at my door from the hospitals. Just getting dropped off. The Medicaid cab would come, drop them off, and it's like I would fight with the hospitals or the discharge centers because I don't have medical staff here.
Right.
We're not equipped. I've had people with seizures. I had people in wheelchairs. I had a lot of people with wheelchairs. I had people that would defecate on themselves and couldn't clean themselves up. I've had people that had heart attacks. I had a guy that had cancer that would go to Roswell. And go to Roswell and come back and go to his cot after, getting his cancer treatment. So there's just people that are down on their luck for whatever reason, but that is not something that we do at Sylvia's House, is even ask those questions. We want to know why you're here, how we can help you, but why are you here? We don't even ask for ID. Code Blue doesn't do that. We just get people off the street as far as the weather is concerned.
So
that was the goal. That is the goal of Code Blue, and not to lose lives due to the weather.
Right, because it gets cold here. I remember that one story where they found a brother at the bus stop buried under snow during like our most recent blizzard, and that like broke my heart. It upset me. It broke my heart. I also want to lift up the fact that like we are all one unforeseen incident away from potentially being homeless. Well, not all of us, most of us, because most people don't have money saved up. Most people don't have resources. A lot of people in their social networks are already stretched thin. So like, hey, something go wrong in my life, I really can't go stay with family because they already at capacity. So it kind of creates like a lose-lose kind of environment and situation often. And like, I just remember telling my homies, and they would be like, bro, you want to come play basketball with us? And I'd be like, first of all, I don't have no interest in like being around a bunch of sweaty dudes. Like that right there, like we are not on no team. Like there's no fans. Like these games don't count. I'm not really interested in being around a bunch of sweaty dudes. Also, if I sprain my ankle, I didn't have health insurance. I'm gonna be homeless.
Right, because you still gotta work.
Still gotta work. Right. I got medical bills. Might not be able to work. I might you want to go play 21 for fun, and like, bro, I'm thinking about like real life responsibilities. Like, I mess up my knee or my ankle, bro,
and
I would be homeless.
You a little older now.
Yes, it'll change my life in a bad way. So like, just thinking about how some people don't really understand. Like,
Right. It's not just because they have mental
yeah,
health or substance abuse. Does that play a part in a lot of our homeless population? Sure.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not the case in every case.
And
So
people think it can't be them. And I'm here to tell you, it can be you. It can
absolutely.
happen to you.
Right. So I would like to, even outside of Code Blue, continue Sylvia's house, just have a few ideas to still cater to the homeless in some capacity, because I didn't start this for nothing. I've been in the field for 20 years. I've been doing homelessness for 16. And it's just a population that gravitates to me because, like I said, I want them to be treated as human beings. And in some way get them to the resources and connect them to those resources so they don't stay homeless. Yeah. Now, will everybody be housed? No, there are some people that just can't be housed. Mm-hmm. There are some people, mental health, that really is where, they can't hold down a job. They can't pay for rent. They don't have family to stay with. I have one guy in particular, we had a nickname for him, and big guy, 6'6", and he didn't talk hardly, and people were scared of him. People in the shelter were scared of him. People in the street were scared of him. This is the first year he started talking, and let me tell you something. I ended up being his mom at the end of the day. He would tell people I was his mom, and his mental capacity was probably a 10-year-old, 30-something years old. Been in the streets for a long time. He is one of the ones that I would say he really cannot be housed. He doesn't have that mental capacity or anybody to supervise him or anything like that. But going back to what I'm saying, creating those relationships, he was so comfortable with saying, yeah, Felicia's my mom. And it just struck my heartstrings. Right. Like, this guy, who people are scared of, look at me like that. And that's how a lot of my staff, too, we were hands-on individuals and really trying to meet them where they're at. And that's what's important, meeting where they're at, not forcing them to do things and not forcing them to be in spaces that they're not comfortable with. Yeah. And, when it came down to it, it was like, okay, the neighborhood really didn't want us there. There was some council people that really didn't want us in their district, and I get that. But there was no solution at the end of it.
Right.
And it could have been a conversation, more or less, than a conversation with people coming around the table saying, what are the issues? What is your issue? What is my issue? And let's come together and agree to disagree, but let's come to a solution. And that did not happen. So just trying to figure out how to help these individuals, as I've been doing all these years, and I'm going to continue to do the work, whether it's on a different capacity or not. But Sylvia's house will continue.
So, like, I'm so glad to hear that. And you've done a lot. Like I said in the intro, work with individuals living with and affected by HIV, domestic violence, sexual assault, substance use, formerly incarcerated people. So. So you're already working with challenging circumstances.
Right.
What keeps you motivated in working through such challenging work? You've been in human services, dedicated your life over 20 years. Mm-hmm. What keeps you motivated?
I just think, like I said, seeing the people for human beings, not about what they've been through. And trying to navigate them to see that you're not who you've been through. You've been through things, but you're not who you've been through. Mm. Now, like we talked before, we can't help everybody. Right. But at least help those ones that see that little light at the end of the tunnel. And you may be that little light. You may say something to them that sparks that light, and you don't even know. So I just think, with my grandmother being a social worker, okay. I kind of followed in those footsteps. I used to go with her to a lot of events, kind of like your daughter follows you to every event, and she sees you, and they see that. And I think I just gravitated to that at a young age. I didn't know that at the time. Going to the military, coming back, not really knowing what I wanted to do. And for some reason, I ended up, actually, my first job was doing HIV testing. And it was only supposed to be for 10 months. It was a grant for 10 months. That was it. And then it just opened up those doors where I went into outreach. And then I started networking and meeting people. And so God ain't going to put you where you're not supposed to be. Amen. So I'm supposed to be on this path. Even on those days it was rough in the shelter, when I was questioning those tough times, right?
Yeah.
And even after the shelter, when it closed, I kind of felt, okay, what am I gonna do next? And I needed to take a little bit of time, but I'm back. I'm out here, and I'm ready to just figure out what's the next step for Sylvia's house and push forward. Even though for me and my team, it was very devastating to have to close down and put people back on the street, or put them in other shelters and worry about them. And we're still getting calls that, oh, I'm hungry, I'm in hotel, I don't have any food, what can I do? We're still getting those calls, but I had to kind of dig myself a little bit out my own dirt.
Feel you. It happens.
And it happens because we're human.
Right.
So we feel other people's emotions, and we take on, as a social worker, you take on other people's emotions.
You're an empath. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I just wanted to be here so that I can express, what we're doing, and the work is not going to go away. And like I said earlier, especially with things that are going on in this country, that kind of ignited me to say, yeah, you got to get up, you got to do something, even if it's a small something in your own city, because there's too much going on with the homeless population, and Congress not helping individuals. We weren't helping as much before, but it's really gotten to a point where I fear for our people. I fear for our homeless people.
So you've been doing this work for about 15 years or so. How would you say things have changed, maybe both on a positive way and maybe in a not so positive way, with regards to like our unhoused populations in Buffalo specifically? What's some of the good, some of the bad that you've seen in your 15 years?
I think we'll talk about Cold Blue Pacific. Mm-hmm. I think when I started in 2009 as a volunteer, it was very small. We were just kind of getting people off the street and put them into like the city mission or other, places that had availability. And it's grown. It's grown from, I think back then it's 25 to 30 people to now, 175 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that means the numbers, it's just getting worse as far as people finding adequate housing. Mm-hmm. The good thing is that Cold Blue has been around for a while, and I think it will continue, whether I run it or not. I will continue to participate, and I made that very clear that, I don't have to run it to be a part of it.
Right.
I was a part of it for 15 years prior. I was a volunteer. So I like the fact that Cold Blue has become like the model for other cities,
yeah,
especially in those cold temperatures. That's a good thing. I think that a lot of times the collaboration's not always there. And when I say collaboration, it has to be more than just the providers. It has to be more than just the organization. Mm-hmm. It has to be people on top making decisions. It has to come down from these politicians and councilmen to really work together and come together for our city to say, hey, we'll help you. We'll support you.
Word.
And there was times I didn't feel supported, and there was times that I did. So I think that still has to come to some type of forefront. But for the most part, like I said, I'm, very heavily involved in the organizations that do their best, mm-hmm. but they do their best with the little bit that they got.
Yeah.
Funding is huge.
Right.
When it comes to lack of funding. I mean, if we had more funding to do things, even, with Sylvia's house, we could do more. There was times where I come out my pocket. There was times where my coworkers come out their pocket, my staff, just to make sure individuals have what they needed. That should never happen.
Right.
But it happens.
Especially not in the richest country in the world. There's abundance all around us. Right. And that gap keeps widening between the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
And it's definitely is a scary time, because like it's only so long people who don't have is going to continue to sit back and watch people who do have enjoy what they have without thinking, I didn't ask you for it, I didn't ask you to share, now I'm going to take it. And that's what we don't want our society to devolve into, people taking. We want to evolve into a more just and generous society. At least in my opinion, that's how I would like to see the trajectory for society go. But you talked a lot about community and coming together and working collaboratively for support, because you can't do it all on your own.
And if there's anything I can do, contribute, like I said, Sylvia's House is participating in other community activities. I have a book bag drive this week, not my personal, but I, was asked to be there. I'll be doing arts and crafts with kids, because that's the other part of me. I like arts and crafts, and especially with, children. So I was asked to participate as somebody else's drive. So if there's anything I can do for you guys, we're still out here, and I want to continue Sylvia's House, whatever platform that is, but that whatever community we can help people. Again, the Unhoused is my specialty,
Right.
but like you mentioned, I've been in different spaces.
You work with young people together. Yeah, you work with me when I was a young person.
You were easy.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, but when I wasn't, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you and your patience. So yeah, we would love to have you in that room, because we do a lot of work around just housing inequities, because and we do a lot of work with Dr. Taylor over at the UB. Over at UB. I'm not sure which department he's in, but I know every year he's there, and I love when I pop into his sessions where he's talking about the economics and the racism that's behind the homelessness and the housing inadequacies that we experience here.
And
in the
I
city
don't
of
think
Buffalo.
that has ever changed.
Right.
And I don't know how to change that dynamic. I think that's just, it's always been that way for whatever reason. I'm glad to hear that he works on that end of it, because I would love to be some part of that.
We would love to get you
event,
on the room.
or however, like I said, however I could help, it would be great.
So I appreciate that. And so, keeping with the spirit of igniting hope and health equity, putting a plan together to save ourselves, why would you say housing is a public health and health equity issue? Do you think it's a public health and health equity issue? And if so, why is housing a public
It's
health
absolutely a health issue. For a person to be homeless, I believe that, they may suffer from illnesses, mental health, whether it be some substance abuse, or even, some health issues.
Yeah.
If you don't have housing, nothing else matters.
I feel you.
If you don't have, that's your only worry at the end of this. Where am I going to sleep tonight? Where am I going to eat tonight? Nothing else is going to matter. They're not going to worry about their doctor's appointments. And I think we found that out. I don't know if you remember back when we were doing the HIV work.
Yeah.
A lot of individuals that wouldn't take their medications or didn't have a way to get their medications.
Yes.
Because that wasn't their priority, because their housing was not right.
Or stable. I remember we had the one young person who was living, God bless their soul. They're no longer with us, but that young person tugged at my heart. And I remember him saying that he had his aunt who he was living with was not kind to him, but he had nowhere else to stay, and he was afraid to share his diagnosis with her, so he hid his pills, and she went in his room and thought they were drugs and just threw them out. And so, we had to help him hide his meds, but, he was taking his meds because he was a teenager diagnosed with HIV and was trying to manage his health and wellness the best he could as a young person with an unstable housing situation. And I just remember, I think it might have been you or somebody, I know you but somebody was like...
It wasn't me, but I remember that. It wasn't me who actually sold his pills into his pants.
Yep. Yep, they had the soda boy pills into his pants to keep his aunt from finding them, but just thinking that's the kind of work that we do.
That's the kind of you had to be creative, and again, meeting people where they're at. This is where we're at, as crazy as sounds. But the same thing, with housing, it's an individual is not gonna go and get their mental health diagnosed.
Right.
Take their medication. They're not going to get help for substance abuse or alcohol because they don't have a stable house.
Right.
And then, when individuals don't have a stable house, it turns into, say, a mom who's pregnant. I had a few this year. And now If that individual can't find housing or can't find employment, then it becomes now a CPS issue.
Oh man.
So then, so really,
Now you got kids in the system.
And you got kids in the system, and it's just this revolving door of.
And I worked at the other place on the other side of that call.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Lack of resources, lack of funding. Even with, let's talk about DSS. Even with that system in place, the rents have gone up.
Yes.
Right.
Lord,
but
yes.
individuals that get DSS or individuals that get SSI or SSD or whatever, that income hasn't gone up. So
right.
You got rent that gone up, but your income hasn't gone up. So how do you find adequate housing for somebody who only gets $700 a month when the rents are over $1,000?
Right.
So it's not equal across the board. So yes, it's also a health disparity when it comes to individuals in the street. Like we talked about, you got individuals with their stuff outside. You have people that haven't showered. You have people, that's all health related to our community and to that individual. When we were able to have a shelter for 30 days at St. Paul Cathedral. Thank God for them. They were great. It was a smaller space, but that's when we were looking for buildings.
Right.
So we moved into there. They did not have showers, and they did not have wash and dryers. So here I go being creative or trying to figure something out because I'm not trying to be in there with 60 people who haven't showered in 30 days, right? It also is another health disparity. You're talking about bed bugs. You're talking about hygiene. You're talking about, not being able to clean your clothes. So fortunately, I ran into an individual who allowed me to rent out his apartment.
Oh, man.
An empty apartment.
Yeah.
For a month.
Yeah.
And then we would shuttle in our van
we need, y'all.
to take individuals back and forth to shower and then do their laundry at the laundromat. It was rough.
That's logistics.
But we had to do it because you had 30 days of individuals not being able to shower. That would have been bad for everybody, including them. You can get sick behind not having or being clean.
You sure can. You sure can.
So that is super important. I would love to share some of my ideas. I don't want to put them out there yet. But one of the things that, because of that situation, that I'm looking at for Sylvia has to do something that has where showers are available, wash and dryers are available to their disposal for the homeless.
Yeah, I would love
got some stuff in the works.
Oh, okay, cool. When it works out, because it will work out, we're gonna claim it. When it works out, you can come on back for a third time. We're gonna celebrate.
Of course,
we're gonna celebrate. Man, it's a lot. But what I want to,
you don't think about things like showering and washing clothes. You don't think like
stuff that some folks take for granted.
Definitely
take for granted. Yeah, absolutely. Just having the resources to do stuff like that. So I'm curious if there is somebody who happens to be listening to our conversation right now, and this is a great conversation for folks who might feel powerless, right? Who might be in need or in any situation, whether it's due to like housing or employment or just anxiety and depression and stuff that most of us are experiencing. What's one small thing that you would suggest they could do to make a difference for their unhoused neighbors or for themselves?
The individual or?
So either or. So if it's the individual that's going through or experiencing it, or even if there's some kind-hearted person whose heartstrings are tugged by this conversation. So how could a person in the situation keep hope? What would you say to them? And if somebody who is feeling compelled to want to help, what would you say to them?
Well, to the individuals that are going through it, like we had mentioned, like nobody wakes up and says they want to be homeless. Yeah. Nobody has that in their plan in their life that they want to be homeless. Right. Life happens. Life is lifing. But you ain't lying. I want them to understand that there are people, individuals, like people at Sylvia's house and myself, that believe in you, that believe that this is temporary. And I used to tell a lot of my guys at the shelter, this is temporary.
Right.
This happened. Okay. How do we make it better? What do you need to get to the next step? you know. And there was times where some of them didn't want to leave me, and I'm like, nope, you gotta go. You done made it to the next step. You gotta go. I love you, but you have to go because
you're ready.
This was temporary.
Yes.
This is a temporary thing, and make sure that you don't come back to that, because when you're uncomfortable and you stay uncomfortable, then there's a problem. But when you're uncomfortable, you never want to be uncomfortable again.
Yeah. Amen.
So take that as a learning lesson and pass it to the next person and pay it forward. So if I'm helping you, I want you to help somebody one day when you're able to help somebody.
Right.
And I've had individuals that in my shelter, one guy in particular, 2 years ago, he was homeless. He came back and worked for me. And he was my lead guy at nighttime.
Because he understood.
Because he understood it. And even when the shelter was moving around, he would come. He took 2 of my dogs, actually, that were left in the shelter. Oh, that was another thing. This is the first
year. You did a pet shelter, too, Felicia?
Not a pet shelter,
okay.
But this is the first time that we were able to take individuals off the street that already had pets.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, they have their companions, man.
A lot of people would not come in the shelter. It can be 10 degrees and we're not coming in the shelter without their pet. And this was the first year that Cold Blue, Sylvia's house, took owners and their pets. I had about 6 dogs in there.
Lord.
Not even going to lie. And
Lord.
the SPCA was great. They donated cages. We had a setup. And with 2 of the dogs, 3 were left behind. Either the owner got sick, went to the hospital, never came back. And one individual got incarcerated, so he never came back. And so the guy I'm speaking about, who was homeless 2 years ago, he took 2 of the dogs, and he brings them to me so I could see them. And
wow.
Again, it became a family thing. So, you know, and he just had a baby and
Correct.
Girlfriend and everything.
Awesome.
So
life is moving.
Life moved on for him. So I don't want people to think that they are stuck.
Yeah.
This is temporary.
And for the folks who are feeling compelled to want to do something, how can people support you and help the work of Sylvia's house?
I gotta say, a lot of people, a lot of strangers came out the woodwork and were donating throughout the winter when it came to coats and shoes and food. I mean, people are really doing a great job, and I appreciate that. I want to thank people for doing that. At this point, we need a building. We need a building that is suitable. We need a building that's out the way. Nobody's gonna bother us. And then we
ain't gonna bother y'all.
We ain't gonna bother y'all. But we need collaboration, and we need those higher ups to really come to the forefront and help us. You know, you guys want a clean city, we'll give it to you. You got people out the way, we'll give it to you. But I need those resources in order to move forward.
Yeah, help us, help them, help
me, help you.
Help us.
help us, help you.
Yeah, help us, help you, help us all.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right. No, I love that.
It takes a village. I've never gone into this thing thinking I was, better than anybody else. I never went in this thing thinking I could do it myself. I am super independent. Nothing wrong with that. But I know that at the end of the day, if we collaborate, we come together and we, really focus on what the issues are and not blame each other and not point the finger and, I could do it better than this person or that person. No, we have to come together, whether you agree or not. And that's on a lot of subjects. A lot of people, you have to agree to disagree and really come to the forefront and say, this is the issue. How do we fix it? And who are the people that can help move forward?
Love that. So if you're one of those people, we expect to see you collaborating with my sister Felicia Cruz. So, awesome. I do want to close out kind of just reflecting a little bit back, maybe on a little bit of a higher note. Is there anything else that you want to say or share with regards to your work with Sylvia's house and how folks can get involved? Is there anything else that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
No, I think you covered everything, and I appreciate, again, you having me here for the second time.
Oh, absolutely.
We keep in contact a lot, and a lot of the work that we do, it's important. I just thank everybody who has supported Sylvia's House from the beginning, because there's a lot of people out there that really, like I said, came and did their thing, and my staff. And I just want to be able to continue the work. It's definitely not for anything else but to empower and to help people in their lives.
Word. So speaking of empowering and helping people, that kind of transitions me to what I want to end on a little bit of a lighter note. So you were definitely one of my and our mentors in the Leaving Our Legacy program. Shout out to Mama Sue.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tracy McGee, the OG. Shout out to
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, most definitely. Shout out to Trevor,
Oh,
Natasha, Melinda, and Alex. Shout out to all the social work interns from the UB School of Social Work that we had. Oh, and Karina. Don't think that I forgot any of y'all, because I appreciate all of y'all who looked out. And also, and that's how I met the good brother Idris. So what used to happen was you and Idris would come in and talk to us. Then Idris would take us as the fellas, and then you would take and talk to some of the young ladies. But you also made time to like chop it up with us young men, which we really appreciated. So I'm just curious, what made you want to volunteer so much of your time to help us young people and be a mentor? Like, what made you want to commit to a group of, I ain't gonna call us bad. A group,
You were not a bad group.
Yeah, we were trying to do good work in the community. So
and you did.
Yeah,
you did. You guys
Thank
absolutely did. And that came from you guys. We were just there to kind of, steer you in that direction. I think just as, young people, if we get them where, they're at that age where there's a certain age, you got to get them right where they're at. And a lot of individuals don't have stability either as a young person. They may come from a broken household. They may come from a domestic violence house. They may not live with their parent or parents.
Right.
And give you an example, I took in my nephew at a young age. You were his mentor. So
Shout out to my boy.
See how that comes around circle? And, I used to tell him all the time, if nobody got you, I got you. Right? But not a lot of people have a TT.
Yeah, not a TT like you.
Not a lot of people have an uncle. Not a people have. So a lot of kids.
Shout out to all the auntie mamas and the TTs out there.
All the auntie mamas. So it was important, not only for his situation, right, because I was involved in his life, but also I recognize that there's other kids, teenagers, that also didn't have that. Going back to, the individual that was in the shelter, his mind was like a 12-year-old. He called me his mom. I don't know his situation. And so I think it's only right to give back to the community, and starting at our kids sometimes is it just has to, it comes back in full circle. Yeah. So I enjoy, working with kids. I enjoy working with teenagers. And again, you could be that little bit of light that they're looking for that they don't have.
Amen. That is very true. And I think that's beautiful. So just because like it just highlights the importance of like not only mentorship but friendship in the work. And I always would say like, thank God like I have the resources and like I get compensated. But like despite that, I still feel incredibly like rich and successful. Because just for the simple fact that like I get to do what I like and love with people who I like and love.
Right.
And that is the most tremendous privilege in the world. There are many people who might have more of another thing, but they have to do things they don't like with people who they don't like and don't care about. And I recognize that because they might have some other things that other individuals may covet. But when they look at individuals who get to do what they like and love with people who they like and love, there seems to be some. It's like when athletes want to be entertainers and entertainers want to be athletes. It's almost like you're looking at me like, oh man, you have this beautiful life with people who like you love and you get to have so much fun doing what you like to do, and I have to do this thing that like I don't really care about doing, but like I get compensated well for doing it. Right. And it's like, oh man, you get really nice compensation. And so it's everybody's looking at it from that angle. So I really
and I had good mentors myself.
Yes.
I came out the military. I didn't know what I wanted to do. The first thing they tell you to do is apply for all these civil service exams, be a cop, be a state trooper. And I was doing that, but I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do. Yeah. And I needed a job. And they were HIV testing. That's, and I was like, oh, I could do that. That's no biggie. And then, I had a mentor who said to me one day, I was in school for criminal justice. And he says, but you're good with people. Why are you not going for social work or human service? And I was like, I don't know. That seems maybe interesting. And then I wanted to, like, I was working in the needle exchange program as my first job.
Okay.
And I was like, how am I supposed to counsel people if I don't understand?
Good point.
If I don't
Good
understand
point.
drug use, if I
Yep.
don't understand substance abuse, and, so I said, yeah, that's a good idea. I need to go to school so I can understand how to help people.
Makes sense. Yeah, my mama always said when she was going through like her getting clean and stuff, she's like, I don't want no damn rehab counselor that ain't never did drugs. And then my aunt, I remember her, my uncle was going through like their marital problems and they were seeking counseling. She was like, I ain't going back to that counselor lady. She ain't never been married. And I was
I
like,
mean, it's true. I mean,
oh.
it is true to a certain degree,
to a
right?
certain extent,
but
yeah.
everybody's experience is different.
Yeah.
So I've learned, and even with family members with drug use, just because they both use the same substance don't mean they have the same experience.
That's a fact.
So just navigating through even that was an experience for me. Not and I didn't want to judge my family members that were going through it, so I had to learn what made this person use, what triggers do they have, what does that mean. And in the interim of me like trying to figure out my life and where it was going, and it opened up these doors, and I can't believe that I'm sitting here 20 years later still doing some of the work, or done half of the work that I did. And it was one of those things where I came out the military. I was going to work for 10 months. I was going to leave Buffalo. That was my goal.
Oh, boy.
And
so
then,
what made you come back? That
doors
was on my list.
Well, the military, I got out and I came back. My mom is here, so I got out and came back. And then I was like, I'm just going to stay about a year, save up my money, then I'm leaving. And I didn't leave. But I've had so many opportunities and doors opening where, again, goes back to those mentors and having that great experience to lead me where I'm at. And like I said in the beginning, God knows what he has in store for you. So I am exactly where I need to be.
Cool. I appreciate that. Okay, I am going to ask this last question, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here because I know you got stuff to do. When you think about, because you kind of like set me up for, when you think about Buffalo's future, and this is the Igniting Hope podcast brought to you by the Buffalo Center for Health Equity, what gives you hope when you think about Buffalo's future?
That's a good one. I think just going back to what we talked about, I just hope for more resources, more funding, and more people to really do the work that comes from a genuine place. Because the work that we do, like you talked about the trenches, the work that other people don't want to do, I mean, we are out there. It's not a rewarding job as far as financially, right? But it's rewarding, like you said, as far as people's lives. I love to hear stories when people come back after they've been down and out and say, because of you I did this, because of you I went to school. That is more rich to me.
Ain't nothing like it.
So I hope,
especially when there's somebody who you didn't even think was listening or paying attention.
Right, exactly. So
oh my God,
I hope that this
so
city can really come together and come up with a plan that helps our unhoused and really understand that it's just not individuals that are suffering from mental substance abuse. It is people that are really struggling. Some people are working and still homeless.
Right.
So, I used to pick up a young lady at Tops at nighttime, and she'd come to Cold Blue Shelter. She was working at Tops, but she didn't have enough for an apartment. Coming up with, so I hope for the future that we have maybe, more shelters or more income-based apartments. I know they're building different apartments, but they're not income-based. And just, we're a city of good neighbors.
Let's be one.
So let's be that.
I love that. Thank you so much, Felicia. Tell the people. Oh, also, I forgot to plug the work that we're doing. So if you want to support some of our brothers, I work with my man Scotty P and the Badass Men's Alliance in partnership with the Buffalo Center for Health Equity every third Tuesday of the month. That's every third Tuesday of the month at the Buffalo City Mission. We are serving dinner and we're having lit bingo. So we call it the Brotherhood of Bingo.
Anybody could come?
Anybody can come. So we're looking for volunteers. We always need at least 5 volunteers. The next if you want to volunteer, just reach out to me via Facebook. You could
put me down as a volunteer.
Bet. Appreciate that. So see, we already have somebody ready to volunteer, serve the fellas dinner, and then afterwards we do lit bingo.
Bingo.
Yeah, then we do lit bingo, and we have a good time. We let loose, we talk, we laugh, we share. And if you want to donate gift cards, so the prizes that we give to the fellas are gift cards to anywhere. So usually we try to give them at least a $5 gift card. We've had everything up to $50 gift cards be donated. And I usually try to go on Facebook Live, so I give folks a shout out for donating, even though a lot of people just want to donate anonymously.
Okay.
I personally like to give people their flowers and give people their credit, because enough people get like credit for doing little stuff or doing nonsense. So when people do good stuff, I want to lift up the good stuff that's happening in the world too. So yeah, we do that. Inbox me, Sherman Webb-Middlebrooks on all platforms, at the Full-Time Black Man on all platforms as well. My good friend, my sister, Felicia, tell the people where they can find you at on social media, how they can get in contact with you.
Social media, Sylvia's House, Facebook. Also, you could email me at fcruz3426 at Yahoo. And also...
Wait. Is that a cruise with the E or without the E? You got to spell that out.
CRUZ.
All right.
No E like the car. Or also my number, 716-597-3784. That is a business line, but that is my personal business line for Sylvia's House. So if you want to contact me, donate, get involved, those are the ways you can contact me.
Word. Any real estate companies out there that's looking for some good PR? Yeah. You want to put your name on a building? You want to sponsor something? You want to sponsor a building? You want good PR in the community?
Right.
This sounds like a wonderful tax write-off.
There you go.
This sounds like a wonderful tax write-off for anybody with some real estate endeavors. My name is Sherman Webb-Middlebrooks, lifelong Buffalo resident, full-time Black man, men's health project manager here at the Buffalo Center for Health Equity. This is my good friend Felicia Cruz. She is the founder and director over at Sylvia's House, and just a overall powerhouse in the community, a mentor and a friend. Make sure you support her in the work that you're doing. And yeah, I'm going to leave y'all like I like to do in the words of my hero, the Honorable late, great Jerry Springer. Y'all take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Thank you.
Word. Cool.
Good.
Word. Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.